Hi guys, Bryce here with Black Widow Fishing. Today we're going to fix some of our electrical issues as well as one of the problems that we have with one of our lights. This all happened during the last tournament, which would have been the Wild West Bass Trail Tournament of Champions as well as the California Bass Nation State Championship. So let me go ahead and show you what actually happened, and then we'll go ahead and get into making the repairs. So back here in this front part of the live well, we keep our 100 amp hour 12 volt battery that runs our spot lock Minn Kota at the front, and then right behind it in our Wilderness Systems crate is where we keep our 50 amp hour 24 volt battery that we use to run our NK180. So the way I have it wired is right here is where I get the power that goes to the motor. So these go to the motor, and then I have the quick connect, an Anderson plug that connects to the battery that's back here. So as we can see, this first somehow came out. First time that's ever happened for the Minn Kota. So I lost battery power there. And then also, for some unknown reason, the front came all the way undone. Probably within maybe 30 minutes or so of the back one happening, this happened. So we have to repair that. And then also the grass was so thick, it ripped off one of our navigational lights. So I'm actually going to go ahead and screw this into the hole. You can use the double-sided tape from 3M, but I mean, it doesn't really hold up that well, so I'm actually going to screw those in. So let's go ahead and get our electrical system done first. So I'll show you what you need to complete what we're going to do today. Okay, the things that we're going to need to complete this repair or fix, whatever you want to call it, is we're going to need a multimeter. I use a digital one, just makes it very easy. Then I use these. These are crimpers as well as wire strippers. These work fairly well, but I use them mainly for crimpers. Then I use this as my wire stripper. It's real simple, just put it in there and whoop. And then finally we have new Anderson plugs. You can get this for a 10-pack on Amazon for about $10. It's usually cheaper ordering from Amazon than it is getting them from your local auto parts store. Okay, so our first step to repairing these Anderson plugs is we're gonna go ahead and cut this off. You can actually take these out. You just kind of lift up the metal part inside here and you can take the plug off. However, since this one's all the way out, I'm going to take this out and then I'll get these out later and then we can reuse the plug. So first thing we're going to do is get our cutters. We're going to cut this off. And cut it close to the top because I have a bunch of wire that's ran through here, but I like to just kind of save it so I don't have to rerun wire. So we'll just save as much of it as we can. So that's there. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to strip, or pull some more out. We're going to strip both of these. And so with this yellow part, you can set your depth for how big you want your strip to be. Our wire to fit in this just little amount of space. So what I typically will do is I'll just kind of hold it up to this wire stripper here, and then I will make my adjustments. I know it's a little hard to see, obviously, because I'm not pointing it at you, but I'll show you when I'm done. So I've moved the yellow piece out about that far. That should give us enough of our wire exposed to sit nicely in our little metal. Okay. And then after I do, I give it a little twist to keep all the strands together. So this shielding for the wire is actually really thick, so we have to actually use this a couple times. If we're doing with normal thickness, it'll just come right off. You could also use your wire cutters and you could cut the sleeve of it off and then strip it, but I actually just want this to be uniform, so I don't mind taking a few extra pulls on it. So right there, so now we'll twist these on top. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get our little metal conduit and we're going to slide it over. Or this needs to be twisted just a little bit more. We're gonna slide it over. Make sure it's planted in there nice and neat. And then we'll take our crimpers here. And we're gonna go to the non-insulation one. So if you don't know how to read crimpers, you have insulation, non-insulation, just the way it grabs it on differently. So we're gonna stick this into the non-insulation one. We're gonna go towards the very end first. That's where at least where I like to start. I'm just gonna give it a little squeeze, and then all the way, you can't squeeze it anymore. Now it's definitely in there. So what I also like to do is I'll go to the insulation part for the top part, and then I'll give it another squeeze. And that really seats it in there. So now it's not gonna come off. But I don't know how it came off last time, but anyways, that's what we have to do. So then we'll take a second one. Just again, put this on here. And we'll go towards the bottom. Give it a good squeeze. And then we'll do the top part again. So that gives us 2 good connections there. So then take our little housing, and so obviously the red is going to be positive. I didn't know there was one in there. So the red's going to be positive, so we're just going to push this in, and you'll keep pushing until you hear it click. You'll definitely feel it, so you'll know when it's done or in there properly. So I don't know if you heard that click, but there's the click. And then we'll take our black, which is our ground wire. We'll do the same thing. So now this one is fixed and seated, so we can actually push this excess back in there. And so what I do is I just plug this right into the battery that sits back here, but we don't have anything on the Kayak yet. So now we need to move to the front. So we're done with that part of the electrical now. Now we're gonna get some tiny little wood screws, and we're gonna screw both of these in. The one on the left side, or port side for you naval guys, is still fine, but we're still gonna screw that one in too. And then we need to get our starboard side or our right side done. So let's go grab some wood screws. Yes, you heard me correctly. I said wood screws. You need a drill as well. So I choose wood screws specifically because you can get some tiny ones with some good thread on there, so it can get a good grip into the plastic here. And then it's not a big hole, and it allows us to actually go ahead and cover it up with silicone or ring goop, whatever you want, so we don't have any leaking. But this will be above the water line anyways, but I use wood screws. They just seem to work the best. So we're just gonna put it right back under here like we had before. Get that lined up. And then what you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna put it on this very end where there is no diode at. So I just kind of stick it in there first, and then we'll get our drill. And you don't want to go too far because you don't want to strip it out. So this will work, but I'm actually going to put another one down here. On this end, you just need to be careful that you don't hit the wiring. So you can either put it below or above the wiring, and you can feel it in there. So we're going to put it below. get it where you're gonna have it because it's not gonna move. I think that one went in a little far, but we'll be all right. So that's it. That completes all of our repairs for the electrical system that we're going to do. So we've got our lights screwed in now on both sides. We've got our Anderson plugs fixed on both. So the next thing that we'll need to do, which we're probably not going to do today because we have some other things that we need to repair, is when we get our batteries on here, and then we can actually test our connections and make sure they're good. And then once that's done, we'll be totally done, and then we can move on to the next thing. But we have some things that we're gonna do while we have the batteries out before we get those in the way, because they are heavy and they're bulky and they're always in the way. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.